everyone, my name is Luna and I'm here to break down everything that happened in episode 2 of Critical Role's mini-series, Wildemount Wildlings. Wild out! I'm sorry this video is so late, I've been getting over COVID. Don't forget your boosters, everyone. This video is brought to you by my patrons. Thank you so much to all of my patrons and welcome new patron Jane. Making these videos is my job, so I literally couldn't do this without the support of such generous folks. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so for as little as $2 a month at patreon.com/lubuffin. This episode kicks off with another brainstorming session with a delightful group of kids who come up with some more ideas for monsters that the party can face. And these kids have such vivid and twisted imaginations. Shout out to Greta, who pitched the businessman and the bad therapist. Truly the stuff of my nightmares. Greta, you are an icon. At the table, Ashley and Marisha are dismissed since Yasha and Bo are nowhere to be found, having been swallowed by a giant pig called Gup Gup that disappeared into the forest, leaving the kids to fend for themselves. One of my favorite things about stories that center the kids as the heroes is all of the narrative devices for getting the adults out of the way so that they can have the freedom and the agency to become the heroes, and getting swallowed by a giant pig with chicken and cat feet is a pretty good way to do it. So, Sky and Jessup continue to call out for Padman and Kai, which attracts the attention of Veth's husband Yeza, who rushes out. Sky and Jessup hurriedly explain what happened, and Yeza uses the Tin Can network to call to Padman and Kai, telling them to report to the supply shed. As they leave the admin building, Padman, with the encouragement of Kai, takes the Olga's files with them. The group meet up and quickly catch up. On the news of a monster on the loose in the camp that has eaten the Mighty Nine, Padman freaks out and starts running away. The others chase after him, leaving Yeza behind, and when they catch up with Padman, Kai manages to convince him to try and save Bo and Yasha.
If we save them, you will be a legend. What do you think about that? Then we can make a card for you, and we can make it holographic, and with your signature on it.
That card could easily go for 20 or 30 gold pieces.
Absolutely, buddy. So what say you?
All right. This plan is just crazy enough to work.
That's what I like to hear.
We don't quite have a plan yet, but we do.
This inclination is just crazy enough to work.
Padman is clearly motivated by trading cards, and as someone who rewards myself when I do something scary, like go to a doctor's appointment with a pack of magic cards, I can relate. They begin to look for the Gup Gup and decide to try and enlist the curfew creature, Mishi, either to convince her to look for the Gup Gup herself or to tell them where it went. Kai, for some reason, decides to once again use his disguise kit, putting on 2 mustaches and calling out to Mishi.
Hello, dainty feet. How can I help you? It's 3 hours and 30 minutes before curfew, by the way.
I put on a voice and go, Dainty feet, who's that?
Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm Jorb with the Counselors League of Counselors.
Oh, you're a counselor?
I am, yes.
Oh, where's your counselor uniform?
Left it in the wash today.
Dainty Feet, by the way, is the lowest rank of the camp, followed by Three Belows, Greenhorns, Just Shies, and then Wildlings. Unsurprisingly, Mishi isn't deceived by Kai's performance, since she's been watching them the whole time and just saw him put on the mustaches. Padman tries to appeal to her sense of duty by saying that the need to protect the camp from the Gup Gup is in line with the need to have a curfew to keep the kids safe, but Mishi disagrees.
I only care about curfew.
Okay.
All right, well,
Gotta hand it to her. She is dedicated to her job, and I love that for her. Next, Kai takes a different approach and instead appeals to her love of treasure by offering, in exchange for information, a rare card from Padman's Mighty Nine TCG, and not only that, but her very own card in the game. With some minor illusions of these cards from Jessup and some high deception rolls from Kai, Mishi is convinced and points the party towards the camp cabins, reminding them to be done with their search before curfew. Hopefully next week we find out what happens if they stay out past curfew. I really want to know what Mishi does. As the group head off towards the cabins...
Now would be a good time to check in on Bo and Yasha. So we're going to cut away to them right now.
Oh no! What is happening? Why are we tied? Where?
Thank you, Sam.
Actually, kind of got me.
Bo,
Yes.
Yasha.
Yeah.
This made me laugh so much. It was so dumb and silly, and I I just loved it. So the two find themselves in a dark room, tied to chairs with an unusual rope which is made out of cat fur. They try and burst out of it, but the rope gives off a puff of cat dander that poisons them and gives them a -5 to their strength, hampering their level 20 abilities even further. As they become even more morose at their predicament, they worry about the kids.
This is every minute that goes by, we're leaving the kids unattended.
What if there's other creatures out there that they get eaten or killed and it's on our watch?
There is a non-zero chance. That is very actually likely to happen.
We're gonna get in so much trouble. And they're good kids.
Yeah, I really actually kind of like them.
I do
only known them for
too.
like 4 hours, but I actually really like them.
Me too. I was a little nervous at first, but
Yeah.
you know, like, they're also interesting and different.
They begin to yell out, but nobody can hear them. We cut back to the Olgas, who have arrived at the camp cabins to find them very changed. They're covered in piles and piles of food, forming a maze of yums. The food is clearly magical in some way, and each of them see different foods based on what their favorites are. Kai sees steaks and hamburgers and assorted meats. Sky sees shepherd's pie. Great choice. Jessup sees kimchi, which she really likes because it's good for gut health. You know, it's something to consider when you have an anxiety disorder, which can give you like a sore tummy. Not that I would know anything about that. And Padman sees shoe fly pie, which I've never eaten, but I know a great jazz song about.
Shoe fly pie.
Padman notices that something is strange about this food.
That's my mom's special recipe. She would never make time to come here.
Oh.
This is fake. This is not real. This is illusory. We are the victims of an illusion.
Oh, I get it now.
Oh, Brennan, you're not supposed to make me feel sad. Padman absolutely strikes me as someone who doesn't feel like he fits in with his family at all, and I think that's pretty relatable for a lot of kids and a lot of grown-up kids. Padman takes a bite of the shoe fly pie to see if he can ascertain anything about it, and he is granted some temporary hit points, yay, but is taken over by a magical compulsion to enter the maze. Boo. Jessup also eats some kimchi and suffers the same effect. The two take off into the maze with the others following. Inside the maze, they hear the gup-gup somewhere in the distance and they begin to follow. Rounding a corner, they trigger a pit trap and Jessup and Padman fall into a deep pit where a flash of light blinds them. Jessup resists the effects of this flash, but Padman does not and is forced to relive a memory, a flashback.
There was a moment when I was very little, when I first started coming to the camp, and I overheard a conversation between my mom and my dad about splitting this summer, because I said that I didn't want to go to camp for the whole summer, because now that I was old enough to go to camp, I'd also be old enough to work on my dad's ship. And I overheard my dad talking to my mom about finding a way for me to not go because he thought I'd be a liability. And so the next morning I said that I'd changed my mind and I wanted to go to camp for the whole summer.
I love a flashback mechanic, something that forces a flashback. I wish Jessup had failed because I would have loved to have learned more about, where her anxiety comes from. This was obviously a really sad moment for Padman, and I think Brennan really hit the right tone for it. Pretty much all of us, I'm sure, have memories like that of a kid where we heard something we shouldn't or we felt perceived, in a certain way by the adults around us, and that can absolutely linger and stay with you. It seems like Padman kind of gave up on following in his father's footsteps and instead really invested emotionally, in this camp. His spellcasting focus is a Wildemount Wildlings pin, and Brennan said in episode 1 that this camp means everything to Padman, which is so cute. I hope we get some insight like this into the other characters. I think since Brennan is the most experienced role player in the group, he knows how to insert these kinds of moments into the narrative whilst, moving the story forward. And while we do know a bit about the other characters, I would love to just see a little bit more of them and learn, why they are the way they are before the series ends. So, fingers crossed for next episode. If we don't get it though, I think that's also fine. Like it's fine to just sometimes have a lighthearted episode where things don't happen. Oh, my light just went out. Oh, I think it ran out of battery. Aha, I fixed it through the power of plugging it in. Anyway, back to the pit. As Padman is caught up in this memory, lava begins to pool in the pit from small pipes in the walls. Kai and Sky throw down a rope, but Jessup is unable to lift Padman and haul him up it. The group then try multiple ways of waking Padman up, including Libe trying to trigger Jessup's wild magic in the hopes that it will do something useful.
And what color is your skin?
Blue.
Okay, your skin turns blue.
Oh.
Is that all?
It's a vibrant shade of blue.
Wow.
It's a slightly different shade of blue.
Did you just change your skin to a slightly different shade of blue? What are you guys doing?
Like a nice
there?
suntan. Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm panicking so bad.
It was so good. But anyway, none of their attempts work, and both Padman and Jessup start to take damage from the lava, prompting Sky to jump in to try and help. Eventually, Kai jumps down into the pit and, using a ring of jumping, jumps out of it with Padman. This snaps him out of his reverie.
And you come back to your senses, confused at what just happened.
Oh my God, our friends! I jump back in the hole.
Is that true?
I have a 21 strength and a standing leap of 15 feet.
Well, now you're conscious.
And a climb speed. So I come out and I go, huh, what are you doing? And I jump back in the hole.
We learn later in the episode about how Padman has this high strength score, and yes, commenters, you were correct.
A long time ago, when I first came to this camp, everyone made fun of me. A shrimpy little frog kid. This good at magic. I remember the first time someone called me a loser. So, one night, when my pants were falling down because they were too big, and my body produces a natural mucus that makes it hard to keep fabric pants on, I broke into the enchant shed. Because someone told me there was a belt in here, and this was the belt. And it makes me super strong.
I thought it was going to be an inherited magic item, or maybe something his parents gave him to try and help him be a bit tougher and stronger, but this version is much funnier. I like that he's like, I just need a belt for my pants. Padman jumps out of the pit with Jessup, and Sky casts Jump on herself, and they all get safely out of the pit. They talk about how they need to get out of here, but Jessup and Padman are still under the magical influence of the maze. Kai manages to snap Padman out of it, but Jessup is still under its thrall.
I mean, think of how good our gut health would be if we ate all of this kimchi.
All right.
We just gotta move on. We just gotta keep going, guys. We can snap her out of it later.
Can I grab more to...
Absolutely, you can. Go ahead and take
Jessup,
a bite.
no!
Jessup,
No!
stop! My gut health!
All right, you're gonna eat.
They finally find an exit, but it is blocked by the businessman, who starts to berate them, but Padman and Kai immediately attack him and he disappears, seemingly illusory like the rest of the maze. I'm kind of mad that we didn't get to see more of the businessman, because I just think that was a hilarious concept. Stepping out of the maze, they see the tracks of the Gup Gup leading into the magic meadow, and they begin to follow them. We cut back to Yasha and Bo, whose eyes have finally adjusted to the dark room, and they see a table covered in trinkets, which seem to be related to the Mighty Nine and other characters, such as lollipops and a traveler symbol, both for Jester. There are buttons for Beth, a crystal, which maybe could be Caduceus, and the feather maybe could be a quill for Caleb. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see what else there is. I wish we got a better shot. I think there's a wooden egg, which could relate to Chetney, and there's also a bowl of Werthers, which are heavily tied to Sir Bertrand Bell. Neither of those characters are from the Mighty Nine, so yeah, it's very mysterious. On this table is the swear jar from the camp that now contains a clue.
Yeah. Oh, it's a clue to help you escape.
What?
Babe.
Who can I?
In
Wait,
the
let me see
swear
if I
jar.
can use my teeth.
Okay, try to get it open with your teeth. The top bit. You got it? Grab it.
Gonna have to work together
You
here.
got it.
Wait, shit! I
Wait,
dropped it.
keep pulling.
The string broke. You're gonna have to figure it out.
Oh no. What's happening? It went back in the jar. I
You
can't
can get this.
I'm gonna get it open.
You got it, babe. I'm sorry. I didn't expect that to happen.
Nope.
I also didn't expect there to be a jar with clue written
I
on
didn't
it.
either. Oh, there's a note. There's a note.
What's it say? Did you get it?
I got it.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get it open.
The note reads.
Oh! Communication is the key.
It's the full text is: in life and love, communication is the key. Only your true feelings will set you free.
Oh, I hate this bullshit.
No.
I love the commitment to the bit of trying to get the jar open without, just using both their hands. I thought that was very funny. So Sam has really done all of us critters here a solid by forcing Bo and Yasha to talk about their feelings about becoming parents. Bo admits that she has thrown herself into her work for the Kobold Soul, mainly because that feels easier and less scary than actually making a decision about having kids. And Yasha agrees that they have been putting it off, but as they're getting older, they probably do need to make a decision. They both discuss their worries about having kids, which I think a lot of people who are in that situation can relate to, such as, do they want to bring a kid into a dangerous world? Will they expose that kid to dangers through their work as adventurers? I mean, maybe that one's not so relatable, but they also worry about, losing their friends and their connection to one another, which as a parent myself does absolutely happen, and it's really hard work to get it back on track. At least it was for me. Bo in particular is worried about turning out like her own parents. She famously had a pretty shit relationship with them because they sent her to military camp basically and had another kid while she was away. They almost talked themselves out of it at one point, but they eventually come back to feeling like, despite how scary it is, they want to try.
I think it's a part of life that would be really fun to explore with you, Bo.
I think so too. I mean, I think we've done almost every adventure that we possibly could have. Except for that one. And I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Same.
Yay! With these honest feelings expressed, the ropes begin to magically glow and weaken. We cut back to the Olgas, who arrive at the Magic Meadow, a walled-off area where all the wizard and sorcery classes occur. At the center of the meadow is a shed that contains magical items, potions, scrolls, and things of that nature. It's usually locked, but the door is actually broken and open. However, surrounding the shed and moving slowly around it are a host of scary monsters, the very same monsters that the kids came up with in the brainstorming session earlier. There is a possessed bunny doll, a Viking, which is a mix between a vampire and a werewolf, a sonic scream, the bad therapist, and two friendly sharks having a conversation by the front gate, with one of them wearing a very smart hat. With no other leads to go on, the group decide they want to see what's in the shed and if there are any clues about the gup there. Padman casts his unseen servant and sends it there to collect things and bring them back. As it does so, he talks with the sharks, trying to distract them by complimenting the hat and the sharks in general. He's honestly really good at this, and the sharks are quite disarmed, so much so that they don't stop the floating items from the shed in the hands of the unseen servant. The things that it collected are a healing potion, a jug of nasty lard, which I'm guessing has the effect of the grease spell, a spider pill, which grants spider climbing, a box of oolong tea, which I'm not sure what that one does, I don't know if I missed it, and a pressed flower, which Padman immediately recognizes as being one of Yasha's. With this evidence, they need to get to the shed themselves, and they try and convince the sharks to let them in.
The shark on the left says to you, "Do you think like a bowler would make my head look nice?"
Well, actually, my friend Jessup is a very successful couturier.
Yes.
A haberdasher, a hatter.
hatsmith.
Yes, a hatsmith. So, well, would you like us to fit you for a bowler?
I mean, if you think it would fit my face shape.
Well,
It would be very becoming, it's true. Yeah.
well, it depends, because a hat matches a tie. So perhaps my friend Sky here could help think about matching something. May we approach? May we?
You mean enter the gates?
Well, I can't fit you with a bowl for a bowler.
We need to measure you. We need
It's a very quick
We need to
process.
compare some swatches to your eye color and make sure it's.
We're not supposed to let anyone through the gates.
Well,
Well, we're not just anybody.
This attempt does not work, and so they just leg it, running across the meadow. The monsters all turn and approach, with the possessed bunny doll grabbing Jessup until Kai destroys it with a thrown dagger, and they all rush into the shed. Back with Bo and Yasha, the Gub enters the room, ready to eat them. They finally manage to escape from their cat fur ropes.
I love you!
But don't hug for too long, because Gub the flying pig is standing up ready to fight you. And just as it rears back, ready to attack, and I'm about to ask you to roll for initiative, instead, a giant door behind Gub opens, revealing a nightmarish hellscape behind him. It's such a blinding light that you can't even really make out details.
A giant fork comes through this door and stabs into the Gub, drawing it back into this space beyond, and they hear the sounds of sizzling and smell breakfast cooking. Yasha can faintly hear the sounds of the kids coming from inside that room. Back with the Olgas, they find another page from Yasha's journal inside the shed and see that it is caught in a trapdoor. The monsters are gaining on the shed and they try to get the trapdoor open, Kai prying it with a crowbar first, followed by Padman, who, despite his immense strength, is unable to do it, just with a really bad roll, and finally, Sky.
All right, I'll give me the crowbar. I'll try.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna try to bust it open.
Okay, are you raging?
Well, my friend is in a lot of danger.
You don't have to. There's no peer pressure. I'm just asking.
No, I think I can do it on my own.
Great. All right. Strength check.
It's a 12 plus 2 is a 14.
With they've weakened it enough that this last pull pops the lock. The door is free and open.
I'm glad she managed to resist the urge to rage, and I think we've all been waiting for that moment, but honestly, I hope she never does go into a rage. I just think, because you come from a family of barbarians and she has all these muscles, it doesn't mean she needs to tap into rage to use them. I don't know, I just like that as a narrative. As the trapdoor opens, the sonic scream looks into the shed and lets out a psychic shriek, which knocks Kai and Jessup unconscious. They fall into the space below, and Sky and Padman follow them, pulling the trapdoor shut. They find themselves in an underground tunnel that is lined with a yellow, papery substance that reminds them of skin, and they can smell sizzling bacon. Ew, I think this has put me off my breakfast. All right, so what on earth is going on here? I really have no idea where it's going to wrap up next week. I mean, obviously they're going to save Bo and Yasha, like, that would be the main crux of the story, although it would be really funny if they died in this adventure, like, what a way to go. But in terms of the story, like, who tied them up? What is this table of Mighty Nine, Fox Marketer trinkets, and, like, what the hell is eating the cup or cooking it? So, my unhinged theory is that this somehow connects to Caleb's magical tower, because Yasha and Bo were tied up with cat fur ropes, and Caleb's tower is staffed by magical cats. Maybe the cats are cooking up the gup for breakfast in the tower, and this is some, like, weird pocket dimension. I don't know. That's my theory. I saw a few people speculating that this has something to do with the hag Ishanai, who featured in Veth's backstory, but I don't know. I think that they would probably save that for a live show, maybe the wedding one. I think that would be really fun. But let me know your theories about who or what is behind this in the comments. And if you aren't already, please make sure that you're subscribed. It really does help the channel. I will see you all next time, and hopefully I won't sound so scratchy. Bye!
So engrossed in the story
It's me!
that I never even took a sip.
Wow, look at that.
That's me in long underwear.
Wow, I'm really rocking like a nerdy girl at summer camp vibe today. I feel like I just need braces and then...
Hey, Norman.